After we analyze the business strategies of the company that we selected, during fundamental analysis, we also want to analyze the management of the company. The purpose of that is to make sure that management is efficient and the people who run the business are working good, and it can have positive effect on the long-term growth of the company. That's the main purpose of this stage of analysis. So first of all, we want to analyze the organizational culture of the business. We want to analyze all the assumptions and beliefs shared by the members of an organization, what kind of values they share, how the company works, what is their culture. So that's a very important part in fundamental analysis. We want also to go deeper and understand how people interact in the business with each other, what is their organizational behavior. We want to see what kind of norms, written norms, rules, and regulation exist. We want to see what kind of game rules exist, which is non-written rules, but that can have very significant effect on the company, on the future growth of the company. The philosophy that guides people and makes them work efficiently and makes them proud of their work. We want to understand the feeling of that. As I mentioned, the dominant values are also important, and many other factors like teamwork practices or working climate, and etc. After that, we want to understand the structure of company. We want to know how the company is organized and how the relationships, the formal relationships between employees are created. That's very important to figure out. We want to see that workflow, how the business organized. There are two basic organizational structures, and we need to figure out the business where we want to invest, or the management or the investment project that exists, what kind of organizational structure we'll have. So the first one is the bureaucratic organizational structure, and it's very common. The other common organizational structure is the flat organizational structure, and they are very different, and we need to understand what kind of structure the business that we're analyzing have, and try to see the advantages or how that kind of organizational structure helps company to grow and have success. So basically, the bureaucratic structure is shaped as a pyramid, and it consists of many hierarchies with many levels of management. There are a lot of subcategories, and there are a lot of positions, and there are a lot of management involved. So normally this kind of companies, they have top-down management approach. The second characteristics, there are a lot of levels of management. The career path, career growth is very hierarchical. Somebody who wants to become in the top level of management should start and step by step grow. The jobs are very specialized in very specific fields, and there are many other characteristics that are important and you can take into consideration in your future analysis. The other organizational structure is flat organizational structure, and it has few levels of management. It's not very hierarchical as in bureaucratic structure, and it has also its characteristics that makes the business work in some other way than bureaucratic characteristics. So there is very decentralized approach of management. There are not many levels of management, as I mentioned. There are a few levels actually. The career path is horizontal, so it's flat, and there is no many steps to follow to get from zero to the top. And job definition is very broad. They have very general job definitions, and the job emphasis is on teams, and which is very significant. And this kind of organizational structures focused on customers, so they are very orientated on customer satisfaction. There are, as I mentioned, many other types of organizational structure, but commonly used organizational structures are bureaucratic and flat. There are many combinations between two, and there is not a good or bad organizational structure. We just need to analyze that, and we need to try to understand what is the advantage of the company using that kind of organizational structure, and how it can bring more returns in the future, and how that management system can help to appreciate the assets of the company or grow the company very fast. So in order to go in detail and understand the productivity of specific manager, and we want also to understand what is the productivity of top managers in the company. There are different ways to analyze that. The basic philosophy or logic is that productivity of managers related with their ability plus motivation, so very related components that brings success of manager. Well, ability is a competences that manager has during their job performance. Motivation is the person's desire to do the best possible job. So there are two different animals. The competences, the skills, and knowledge that manager has is important, but also they should have a desire. They should have a motivation to use those competences to have success in their work. So the ability is very easy to measure. So we want to understand what is the knowledge of our top managers of companies. We want to understand how experienced they are. We want to see what skills, job-related skills they have, and what competences they have. So we can easily analyze that. The motivation is a little bit difficult to measure because you need to understand that quality of management. You need to go a little bit deeper and pass the quantifying barriers and try to look on that from the qualitative analysis point of view and understand if manager has many success and if they are very efficient, maybe, or most possibly, they are very, very motivated to do the best in the job. And we need to look into this matter also. Basically, what we want to detect before investing or before starting some investment project or before financing some business idea, we want to understand that the leaders, top managers of business behave in the way that you can see in the picture. If we detect that top managers, they just act as bosses and they don't have a high motivation to do the best job, and there are some reservations, so we don't want to invest in that particular business. And finally, in analysis of management, there were different times when analysts focused on different parts of management. So in 1950s till 1960s, the main focus was, I want to see the product management, what kind of products they create and how efficient they are, how they are decreasing the costs to produce their products or provide their services, and everything focused on operations of the business, just in production part. Later on in 1970s, the mentality or the way that analysts looked for this matter changed a little bit, and they tried to look to the product management, but they also wanted to understand how company manages its customers. What is the value of customer management? Yes, the product management is important, but with that, they wanted to focus on customer management also. So afterwards, in 90s, the focus was the branch management, and the analysts wanted to understand what quality of product company creates and how it manages the customer service in order to create some value, some brand to the customers. So it was very focused on brand, and in that analysis, analysts take into consideration product management and customer management together and in equal share, and they wanted to measure the brand to understand the brand's value, what is the brand, and how these products and services create value for customers. And recently, in last decade, during all decade, the way how analysts started to look on the managers and their performance was the value management. So they wanted to see and analyze, and right now we are focusing on all stages of management, on all parts of management. We want to understand what kind of value provides product management. What is the value of the customer management? What is the value that company creates for its customers? and all together product management, customer management, and brand management are we take into consideration all those parts of management in the entire management analysis. So try to think about that, and in your project try to understand what is the value of the management, how they create the satisfaction of customers, what is the quality of the products that they produce, what is the brand reputation of the organization. And thank you for your attention. You have a good day, and we'll talk more in the next topic. Thank you.